All right, we're going to make a couple more UI changes in this video. So first thing I want to do is I want to add some more water to our map because we're going to prevent our player from going over water. So to do that, we need to go into our maps file, and I'm just going to add, let's just add some water down here. Oops. So to add water, we just switch the G to a W, and we now have more water in our map. I'm having trouble typing right now. Cool, so we have water closer. So we don't want our player to go over the water. Now how we're going to do that is in here, instead of self.playerUpdate position, we're going to make a call. I'm going to say self.move_unit. So that can be any unit, not just the player. And we will pass it the unit that we want to move, which is self.player, and then the position that we want to move it to. So that is going to be 0, -1. So this is what we want instead of this self.player update position. And just update these values to what they should be. Get rid of the old function calls. And now we need to write this method. So we can put our cursor over it and hit Alt-Enter, and it will give us the option to just add it there. So self, we want this to actually be unit, and new_position. All right, so sorry, this is not new position, this is the position change. Now we want to declare a variable, new position. So this is going to be the new position that the player is getting moved to, and it's going to equal the unit's current position. So unit.position 0 plus position change at 0, comma, unit.position 1 plus position change at 1. And all that can be in an array. So that's our new position. And so we want to test if that new position is valid. So we're going to say if new position 0 is less than 0, which means we're trying to move off the map, we're going to return. So now our player can no longer move off the map. Or if new position 0 is greater than length self.map, so that's the game's map, 0, which is the 0 is the y element of the map, take away 1 to offset it for 0 offset. So that's our player can no longer go beyond the map. So let's see if that's working. Nope, it is not working yet because we haven't actually moved our unit. So if all of that is good, we're just going to do unit update position, and we can just pass it the new position. So that also means in our player file, this update position, it's just going to take a new position instead of a X and a Y. So it'll just be new position 0, new position 1. And it's going to equal, not add. Okay, so save that. So now also we can, if we want to like teleport a unit, we can do that as well. Oops. All right, so now let's see if those are working. So now when I hit up here, our player should stay where he is, and that's not working. Okay, so that's not working. What are we missing? So if new position 0, sorry, this is our X. That's our X position. So I was thinking Y position. That's our X position. Okay, so now we can't go off the map widthwise. Cool. Okay, so we'll do the same thing, but for our Y position. So I'm going to copy all that, paste it, and I will say, so if the Y element is less than 0, or if the Y element is greater than just the length self.map, which is our 2D array. Yeah, okay, so that should work. Let's see. Cool. So now I can't go off of it, and I can't go beyond it. But I can still go over water, so let's fix that. So for now, I'm just going to put the water check in here. That will probably move somewhere else. But for now, it's just going to be moved in here. So I'm going to say if self.map and then new underscore position 1, because this first element is our Y position and our second element is our X position. So it's kind of backwards, but oh well. So that's our map tile. So that's a character. If it's equal to W, which is water, we're just going to return. So obviously, if we had like a unit that could go into water, like say a boat or something, then this wouldn't work. But it works for us for now, so we'll just keep it. So let's see if that works. And I cannot pass over the water. Cool. All right, the last thing we're going to do in this video is, what if I wanted to actually extend the map. So right now, when I hit play, when I go down here, it will let me because the map is still down there, but the viewport does not follow the player. So to fix that, we're going to add in the concept of a camera. So in our game, on our render map, first thing we're going to call is self.determine underscore camera. We're also going to create the camera when we create the game. So it's going to be in here, self.camera equals 0, 0 to start. And let's add in that determine camera method. So determine underscore camera. So first thing we want to do is we want to determine the max Y position that our camera can be at. So I'm calling it max y position, and it's going to equal length self.map. So remember, length self.map, what did we say that was? We said that's our max y position. So right now, that would be 19, because we have 19 rows. Sorry. So our max y position is 19. Take away the config.screenHeight. So if you go to our config file, our screen height is 480. So our config.screenHeight, take away config.scale, which puts it into, I think that was 15 or something. So that's going to be our max y position. Then our y position for our camera, and this will kind of make more sense as we go along, will be equal to our self.player position. We kind of want it to follow our player. So self.player position 1, take away, we're going to do math.ceil. So math is a library with functions, so we need to import that. It's up here, import math. Math.ceil. Round. We want a round number. And what are we rounding? So that's going to be our config.screenHeight divided by our config.scale divided by 2. So what we want is we want the player to always be in the middle of what we're rendering. So this is what that's going to give us. Right, so we're saying, let's say our player is at 10. We want to start drawing at, well, what's this? 15 divided by 2. Do some rounding, so something like ceiling, so that'd be 8. So if our player is at 10, we want to start drawing our map at position 2. So it would be something like here. Something like that. All right, so, but we don't just want to take that. We want to check and make sure that our y position is not less than 0. We also want to make sure that it's not greater than this value. Okay, so if y position is less than or equal to max y position, which is good. Oops. And it's greater than 0. Then we are going to set our self.camera at 0, sorry, at 1, because it's our y position, is equal to y position. Okay. Then we're going to say else if self.camera, so that value that we just set nope. We're going to do else if that y position that we just set if it's less than 0, so this condition here would be false. Forgot that semicolon. Then we're just going to set it to 0. Else, so this is basically our minimum position. So if it's not that, the only other condition that it could be is the max position, which we've already determined. So we just set it to self.camera1 equals max Y position. All right. So that's just for the Y right now. I think that's all I'll do in this tutorial for now. So now how are we going to use that? So in our render map, what we're going to do is we're going to offset what we are rendering. So we're still going to render all of this, but we're going to use an offset. Okay, so we're not going to offset the X position, what we're drawing, but we're going to offset what we're drawing at the Y position. So this loops through and renders our entire map, but we can determine where we draw each tile. So it's going to look something like this. We're going to take away self.camera, that value that we just set, which is 1, times the config.scale. So that's going to be for the map, but we also need to do that for all our units as well, because our units also need to get offset based on this camera value. So we are going to pass to this render method for each object, the self.camera. So right now we only have one render method, which is nice in our player file. So go to render, add in camera. Now, since we're adding the camera in here, we are going to move this out of there and in here so we can use the camera. And I think this is more related to rendering anyways. And we are going to apply the same offset. So let's just copy that offset over here, which is this guy. So let's render this. See if it works. Nope. Player has no object camera, right? So we just need to get rid of this self.camera because we're just passing it in from the game. And let's see. So right now it's just rendering normal, which based on our checks makes sense. But as we move down, we want our camera to follow our player. Let's see if it works. And there we go. So it only moves down a certain amount and then it stops following our player. So what we could do is we can come down here and just copy a whole bunch of lines and it would follow it all the way down. Let's just add a bit of water to make it obvious that we're actually moving what we're drawing. So we render that. All right, so now we can create slightly larger levels. And it still won't let us go this way, but we'll do that later. Okay, so in our next video, I think we'll actually start doing some battles and stuff. We'll start adding some actual game mechanics. All right, thanks for watching, guys.